Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll dance around. Working on the railroad, sleeping on the ground. Eat soda crackers, 10 cents a pound. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll dance around.
Welcome to episode 147 of Cowboy Shit. My name is Ted Stovin. My co-host is Dustin Edwards. Dustin, the Calgary Stampede is underway. This show's coming out on July 12th, which is a Wednesday. We've had a few things that we've done since we caught up last. Last show was on June 28th, so I finished up to Ponoka. I went right into bull busting after a day off and went to some Calgary Stampede stuff. So what have you been up to the last couple weeks?
Oh, we've been out at Barney's working out there. We got into some parade action with the Barney's train. We had editor Sean Morton down on the train for Canada Day. Other than that, yeah, it's been busy. Some new job stuff happening next week. So yeah, it's just been a really busy start to July.
So I guess the biggest news, I'm glad Sean and the crew made it over from Airdrie. For the Barney's, the big Canada Day parade. That's fun on that side.
Yeah, that was really cool. We test drove the new Barney's train in the parade, and Sean probably walked about 20 miles beside handing out suckers to every kid in Drumheller. So
oh, really?
He was a hero from the children of Drumheller that day.
Is Sean an official promoter of Barney's? Is that how that is, or is he like unofficial employee number 7 or what?
He's definitely official. He got a staff. He was wearing a staff Barney's t-shirt in the parade, so he's pretty official.
That's awesome. Okay, new gig. Tell us about the new gig, man. I'll tell the folks about what the next step is for Dustin.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I'm going to be joining the group at Calgary Sports and Entertainment starting next Monday. Going down there to work with the Calgary Roughnecks. So going to be taking the position of the manager of their business operations team. And so I'm super excited to work with the Calgary Flames group and start in the Saddle Dome next Tuesday. And yeah, get right to work on the season. Lacrosse wasn't my world. Hockey was my world, of course, with the Dragons for 6 years, but super excited to take my learnings from there and bring it over to Calgary Sports and Entertainment. So it's going to be a new challenge and an exciting challenge.
Well, so for you and I had the conversation, I don't know how long it was ago now, Dustin. Would have been like, it's probably 7 or 8 years. How long ago did you go over to Drum to work with the Dragons?
6 years ago.
6 years ago. So we had this chat, like, I feel like it was in the summertime too, was it not? Did you not go there in the fall?
Spring. So we had that chat, kind of that early spring, end of winter kind of chat.
Okay. So we talked about like how, and this by that time, like I was still only doing mostly events and I hadn't even changed over to sales yet. So I was still, things were pretty, we weren't doing a whole bunch. Things have grown a lot since, but like we talked about, you left your 6-figure oil field, service job essentially, right? To go chase down a pretty meager salary working in sports.
Yeah, that was exactly it. And I just, wasn't finding much happiness in the oil field, and remember having those conversations about maybe taking a leap and didn't know where that would lead. And now, here we are kind of 6 years later and, going to work for a really big sports corporation and essentially for a pro sports franchise, which was always my goal. So, I can finally say that I was able to check that box, which was just part of that conversation 6 years ago. That wasn't even it at the time, but yeah, super excited. So I've had a lot of good people along the way that have helped me and been in my corner, including yourself and all of our crew. And yeah, it's just really exciting. And I was able to make a connection with the vice president from the club through WACY when we did the Calgary Sports Management Society speaker series, and that's what kind of got this whole thing rolling. So
right on. And was that Jason Johnson or who is that now?
Mike Moore.
Mike Moore. Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, that's awesome. And I
Yeah.
saw Wasey at Bull Bust, and he's been around Stampede a bunch, so good to see him and catch up briefly and whatnot. So, um, yeah, that's pretty neat how that works out, though. How those different connections, you never know where a thing like stuff like that's gonna catch back up with a guy.
Well, we have that very unique connection because that was the night that pro sports was shutting down as we were doing that event, and you
True.
and Storm were there, and that was I think it was March 12th or March 11th, and the NBA
11.
was shutting down,
Yeah.
and those guys were all getting called out of that event we did that night because they were getting called into the office to start shutting things down. So
Jeez.
that was the first story we talked about when I met with them was that night. So yeah, it's just funny how everything kind of comes full circle, right?
Huh. But one of the other things too is like, you may or may not stay and work in lacrosse for the next 20 years. That might not be your entire career, but this is definitely and I think most people probably like I don't want to assume, but I would think that the working for CSEC, like Calgary Sports Entertainment Corporation, is probably a stepping stone to what your next position might be in the sporting world. Like I'm just assuming here, but I think that that's one of the next moves, is it not? Ideally.
Oh, for sure. And like I think that they recognize that, and they've got so many properties. They've got the Wranglers, the Calgary Hitmen, the Calgary Flames, the Stampeders. So,
Yeah.
there's just so many entities that they look after. And someone like Mike, he's the vice president of the Wranglers, the Hitmen, and the Roughnecks. So,
Oh wow.
so you're really integrated in all their assets, which is really cool. So, I'll be going there for lacrosse, but certainly going to be able to help on the hockey side of things at times as well. So that's what really intrigued me as well.
Oh, right on. And another friend of ours, Keenan Vine, was actually gonna try and help on some production stuff on the Flames side of things before COVID, and then that kind of got shut down too. But I know he was kind of involved-ish with the CSEC side of things at one point, but it just never really turned into too much, I think. I'm not sure where that ended up, but I think he might get another chance at some point.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's so cool about the world we live in with production, with live events. Like, when we look at the Roughnecks, they play 9 home games on Saturday nights, and essentially you're just producing 9 events
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So for rodeo people like yourself and a Keenan Vine and Sean Morton and all our buddies, it's pretty easy. You're not, well, I shouldn't say easy, but it's a lot more comfortable to, you're putting on a CFR Saturday night perf. You can probably produce a hockey game in a sense. They have the same scripts, pyro, music. Obviously there's the little differences with the sports, but at the end of the day, you got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a lot of the same elements. So I definitely see those worlds intersecting a lot more in the future, maybe with all of our crew and where everybody's going. So.
Oh yeah. Well, and I gotta say, you've never lived here at the house, but you're gonna spend a few days a week here for the next couple months until you guys get your own place down here. But I'm looking forward to having you around here so we can hang out some more. We don't get to hang out as much as we might want to, so I'm looking forward to getting to hang out some more down this way. That'll be a good time too. When I'm home, I guess.
I'm about to be your basement dweller, but
Yeah.
that'll mean more Cowboy Shit beers and maybe some more golf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we haven't golfed together in what, like probably 6 years or something ridiculous. It's been so long.
Yeah, probably the sports medicine golf tournament 2 years ago was the last time
Oh,
we golfed.
okay. Okay, fair. Yeah. Too long, obviously, but we'll make sure we get it back to that again. But okay, so congrats on the new gig. Looking forward to you getting started there on the 17th, like you said. What else? We've got we just had Bull Busting. I gotta say I had a ton of fun at Bull Busting. The Pinoca wrapped up. I think we had a really great show in Pinoca. Thanks to the crew there. Really enjoyed Pinoca. I felt like it was a little bit lower key this time. It was pretty aggressive the first year with everything that went on. So this year I felt a little more comfortable, a little more like kind of settled in on some stuff. So I thought we had a great show there. It was great to work with Feature and all the crew. But Dr. Lynn Phillips is Oklahoma, but I mean had a great show there with Les and I thought Alicia Erickson did a great job again. I thought it was a really good show. We had great weather as well. And the start of Calgary, I think, has been pretty solid too. But just like we talked about last time, the the diminishing Canadian content there, I think, really showed up, and who made it on through to the final Sunday. And I was messed up last time too. I thought they were gonna have 3 out of each pool for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking, but there's 4 per pool, so 12 on Sunday. So I don't know what I was thinking there, but I thought they were trying to cut some time on the perf. But feedback so far, it sounds like people aren't loving missing like people like Saturday. Like a lot of folks like the Saturday, the wild card. So heard that at the grounds. But yeah, what was it like? I think only 3 Canadians made it through to Sunday from Pool A.
We had Clint Lay move on in the bareback so far.
Bo Cooper.
Bo Cooper went on in the tie down roping.
And then Zeke
And
in the
Zeke
bronze.
made it on in the saddle bronc riding. So
That'd be it, right? 3 out of
yeah,
how many events? 6 events: bareback, steer wrestling, tie down, barrels, bull riding, saddle bronc. 6.
yeah, and we only had in that first
3.
pool, Clint was the only Canadian bareback rider. Bo was the only Canadian tie down roper. Curtis Cassidy was the lone steer wrestler. It was Brady Whiteside representing Canada in the barrel racing. They had Shelby Spielman in there. I guess she's a honorary Canadian now. And then in the bull riding, we just had Dakota Butters. So, so it was not a big Canadian contingent in the Pool A, and but three of them move on. So that was good to see.
Yeah, true. I still think it's a knock to go that way. Just still going backwards, but.
Yeah, I seen an interesting post from Dusty LaValle. You know, he's
I need to go look at that here quick.
And he talked about, you know, we had if there was an American rodeo and there was 54 Canadians and 6 Americans in the first pool in a rodeo in the US, that it probably wouldn't go over that well. And he got a lot of comments from a lot of pretty pretty respected rodeo people that agreed, and I don't disagree with it for sure. I mean, look at this week. I mean, 1 Canadian bareback rider, 1 Canadian tie down roper, and you're telling me that's all you can get into a pool, 3 days in Canada? Like 1 Canadian steer wrestler in that first pool. Like, we've got some of the best guys going in the world in these events. Even in the bronc riding, Zeke, the only Canadian. I know there's more to come in pools B and C, but man, that's it's a little disappointing for sure.
Oh, 100%.
And like Tanner Milan, I believe, was supposed to be in, and I think he tore his pec or got hurt and just gets replaced by an American. So we're down even another Canadian at the Stampede this year.
Yeah. Yeah, just not ideal, right? Like, so here's, I hadn't seen this yet, but I had heard about it. 1 and 9. Jeez. 6 Canadians versus 53. Oh yeah, has a Canadian flag by her name, but she's from the States, right? Shelby Spielman, yeah, she's from the States. Could you imagine the biggest rodeo? Yeah, there's the piece there. Crowd would care, less Americans. Oh yeah, so here's the question you asked. Do you think the crowd would care if there was less Americans they had never heard of? Highly doubt it. Heard over the years, the crowd has complained how lopsided the ratio is, and they want to see more Canadians. Get that the pool of talent is deeper in America, but I know for sure we can provide more Canadians in each event that are Canadian. Over the years, the list is giant. Examples of elite Canadians that were not invited, and American further down the standings was selected. Do you hate Canadians? Is it sponsorship money dictating who gets invited? How can you think this looks good? I just don't get it. So, of course, he posts a picture of the bareback ride, and there's 10 people, and the 1 Canadian's Clint Lay, and he makes it through.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
334 shares, 166 comments. Holy.
Yeah. And I'm not the most up to date on who's who in the PRCA, but man, there's a lot of names, and we've been sitting at home at night watching. I would not know who they are, and
no, me neither.
When you
never heard of them,
when you see someone get announced from Canada, when you're in the stadium and you're at the rodeo, it's different, and it's tough to replicate that when there's 1 per event.
Well, how about Heath Ford? I'm pretty sure Heath Ford has made the NFR in the bareback riding before. And he says, I know how special it is to Canada and the Canadian cowboys and cowgirls. I think there should be more Canadians in the Stampede as well. This is coming from an American. I think that's even been on the board of directors for the PRCA. He says it should be more Canadian. Jeez.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know we talked about it on the last show, but it's just tough to watch. Like yesterday when I think Bo was 7-2, the place goes nuts, and they're not going nuts because he's 7-2. They're going nuts because he's from Stettler. Like same as Zeke. When Brett starts talking about Zeke, I know he's a 3-time world champ and he's a bit of an anomaly when it comes to bronc riders, but
Yeah.
he's from Big Valley. Like he's 2 hours from home, and people are going nuts for him. So I don't know. It's tough to replicate that.
It was pretty cool to see the crowd or hear the crowd in Ponoka actually too for Zeke. They play like Alicia did a really good job of making a few not sponsored but like kind of highlight videos and like interviews. So she did that, and they played that. We played that a couple times during the show, and then Zeke rode like a couple days after that. We showed that video, and the crowd like we really amped him up. But like it was really really cool to see that there's rodeo fans and they like people know Zeke, but Zeke's also like you said an anomaly. But I mean, there's not like he's the most like the greatest Canadian rodeo athlete ever, right? Like nobody else, like Marty Wood won the world 3 times, but nobody else is even comparing, right? Like we're watching a guy that's the greatest ever from Canada, right?
Oh, totally. And for me being from the same hometown, watching him grow up as like a little kid, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, PK Saban took a picture with Zeke and like tagged him and was like,
no way,
3-time champ, like one of the greatest ever, right? Like
no way, Subban, that's really cool.
PK was fanboying over Zeke, so like it's pretty wild, and that's how we make fans. And honestly, like Zeke hasn't won Calgary since what 2017. Like he won 15, 16, 17. Like he hasn't won Calgary in 6 years. But Calgary helped put him on a pedestal as a Canadian athlete. And they could do that with the Bo Coopers, and they could do that with a lot more people.
Oh yeah. But boost him up. Right. But we're not. Yeah, like Zeke got in likely from his Canadian or world standings because he did do good in the world in 15. And like some of the arguments I've heard is that, oh, well, you can go qualify for the PRCA, but that's not the fucking point. Like, I'm sorry, but the point is that it's Canadian rodeo and you can get to it from being in Canada. And now they're like, oh yeah, you can go qualify through the US. No, I don't want to qualify through the US. I want to qualify through Canada and get a leg up from being Canadian and going to the Canadian rodeos and going and competing at a Canadian rodeo. Right? Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. Like, no, I don't want to go to the US to try and qualify for the Calgary Stampede in Canada. Right? And how about this? How about the Calgary Stampede? It doesn't even count in Canadian standings now. They're being dictated by the PRCA, which is an American association. And like, I understand we want it to count for the world standings. Of course we do. But how is it not a CPRA rodeo in any capacity? How?
It's totally bizarre.
Right? What the hell? Like, how do you not count it as points? Like, say, like you win Calgary, you win like 20,000 to the standings max, like make it match Ponoka somehow as standings wise. But like, how do you not have it be nothing to do with the CPRA? I don't know. Well,
when there's only 20 CPRA members in it, it'd be like
overall, right? And that's the argument with the whole PRCA problem, too, right? They want to have more contestants count, so I get that. But here's another one from Blaine Peterson, world champion. He won the Calgary Stampede in 1988 and 1991 and won $50,000. 32 years later, the prize money is still the same. There's another big issue that we could probably use to talk about more.
Yeah. And
rodeo prize money doesn't ever go up.
Yeah. And all of us that took, some pay cuts to work during the COVID years and, Stampede singing the blues, and Friday they've got record attendance. The cheapest rodeo ticket my brother-in-law was trying to go on Sunday, he could get was 200 and some bucks.
Oh, wow.
They're bringing money in. They're bringing money to that place, and they need to pay the cowboys and cowgirls, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, here's Lindsay Sears. Calgary, Houston, Ponoka, Fort Worth, San Antonio, all the big rodeos write their own ground rules. So Calgary does have the option to select competitors how they want. It's not determined by the PRC or WPRA. Therefore, Calgary prefers to select competitors from the PRC over CPRA. That's 2-time world champion Lindsay Sears. There's a lot of people putting some.
There's a lot of well-respected people on that post, and I took some time to read through them, and it's certainly no one's got the blinders on anymore, I don't think, and it's good to see those kind of people speak out because they're all well-respected, and a lot of them have competed there and won money there. So
or won it multiple times.
Yeah.
You think that like you're gonna sell more tickets to Canadians that are gonna go watch their family and friends, and like people aren't gonna come from the US in that same capacity. Although on the other side of things, like people are coming. The stands are full. So, but I just don't think that they're coming to watch the 37th guy in the PRCA standings over somebody that's top 4 in Canada. I guess that's my argument.
Last night when we put the rodeo on, once Clint rode, I fast forwarded to the tied on roping, watch bull rope, fast forwarded to the bronc ride, and watch Zeke ride. Like, and I'm deep rooted in Canadian rodeo, so I mean obviously, but even sitting with the in-laws, like they don't know any of these other guys. They want to watch the local guys. They want to see Canadian people, and I just wish that we could get more content. We got so many good cowboys, and here they are on opening weekend in Benalto, battling out for $2,000 to the CPRA standings, and not getting to go down two hours south to compete for the big money and make a living.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess we don't need to crap on Calgary anymore. So I'm glad people are showing up. I'm glad they're having a good rodeo. And on the second half, we got an interview with Lonnie West here coming up. I did this one a while ago. We haven't seen Lonnie back. I don't actually know the update on what he decided with his shoulders, but I'm going to check in with him here. We'll be back with the second half after this. But thanks to Lonnie for doing the show with us, and thanks to Dustin for doing this top and bottom of the show with me here. We'll catch up with a second with the interview right after this.
Well, I've been known to write a few songs, loving and leaving and get too stoned. Bottle and a pistol by my side, the devil's always along for the ride. We ride down to the creek by the water. I've been baptized by the preacher's daughter. Lucky for me, no, he never caught us. So, we ride to the bar by levee, 85 jacked up square by Chevy, blanket in the back when it gets hot and heavy. We ride, pedal to the floor, boy, she begging for more, sipping on apple pie, moonshine. And I'll be gone by the morning light.
All right, welcome to another episode of Cowboy Shit. My name is Ted Stovin, and with me today, he's a 7-time PBR Canada Finals qualifier, and 5 times he's qualified for the Canadian Finals Rodeo in the bull riding. Comes from a bull riding family. His dad won the Calgary Stampede in, I think, 1989, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. All right, so joining us today is Mr. Lonnie West. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
It's been a long time coming, Lonnie. You've been on the list for a long time, so I'm glad we got connected here and can have the visit. So we're kind of in the downtime for you. You've battled injury for a few years here now and had some bad shoulders, but just get right into it here. Tell us what's been going on, where you're at with things, and when we're going to see you again.
Yeah, well, I don't really know when I'll be back. As of today, things have changed a bit, but yeah, I've been off and on with shoulders the last couple of years. I'd say been fighting them here and there, but been going steady, been getting through it. Up until CFR November, second round, dislocated this right shoulder of mine. And it was bad enough that they had to go in and fix it right away. The rotator cuff had tore right off. So got that surgery done March 3rd. So I've been 12 weeks now without it. And I'm just getting going on my rehab, basically. Been stretching and stuff. But other than that, it's going to be a bit yet. It's looking like probably
fall, eh?
Probably like November. Yeah. So I'll probably be, I don't know. I might even be able to push it to say November getting on, but by then it's like, there's not much really. So I'll probably take that extra month.
Just start
my
the new
goal
season
was
fresh.
Yeah. And my plan was if I could get my injury exemptions through the PRCA, hopefully they'll roll them into San Antonio and stuff.
Yeah.
So then I can go to some big rodeos right when I get back, go to a few practices and then hit it. But that's the plan. So yeah, it'll be all year just rehabbing and doing wedding stuff.
You're getting married August 17th later this summer. It's
Yep.
you guys that's got to be a huge thing to be looking forward to on an off season. It's too tough to it's
Hmm.
tough to have to take a year off, but at least you
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
that going on, eh?
Yeah. Honestly, if there was a year to miss, it's this year. One thing
Yeah.
I've learned about the wedding stuff is there's a shitload of planning to do. Not that I do much of it, but
Especially when you
so
got
yeah,
two brothers.
yeah. So it'll be good. Just focus on that now and just getting my shoulder good so I can maybe have a first dance at my wedding, and
Yeah, there you go.
that'll keep me sane.
You said you were in Edmonton today and seeing, I forgot who you said you saw, but you were seeing a couple, I want to say specialist doctors, surgeons,
Yep.
somebody. I think you said you had you had 3 month or what 2 month checkup. It was like 8 week checkup or what was it again?
Yeah, 12 weeks. So I seen Dr. Harding, who did my shoulder. He fixed it in Edmonton. So I've been just back and forth. It's been once, twice a month. Been up to Edmonton, just checking in, going through the steps. I've kind of been a little slow with my steps, but I know I got a whole year to take off. So just taking it slow, making sure I'm not moving too fast and hurting something. But yeah, I was cleared for my 12-week checkup today to start rehab. So I went and seen the surgeon, and then I went to Acumen after. I've been with Acumen for, I don't know, two years now, just with my shoulders, and they've been awesome for me, and they're the best at getting people back doing what they're doing. So I'm just going to stick with them throughout this
Did,
whole process. And
did they do the surgery too? I don't know the name you mentioned on the surgeon side. Is he the guy? Is he the acumen guy?
no, but they do have a surgeon. He's a
Okay.
private surgeon. So
Okay.
I got it lined up actually, Brooke through Sports Med.
Yeah, Brooke
Um,
Jensen.
yeah, so she lined it all up, and I actually got it through the public system, so I didn't have to pay for it. But I
Yeah.
got
But you're
a
4 months
very
later
good,
than you wanted to be.
yeah. So I probably should have had it done. This surgeon said obviously I should have had it done the week after the CFR,
Yeah.
but I wasn't prepared for that. I had a big project on the go. Like I'm a heavy duty mechanic when I'm not bull riding.
Mm-hmm.
And had a truck I was building to flip. So, and I was midway through that. So I just hammered that out until the new year. And then once I was done that, then they went ahead with MRIs. And so it took a little bit, but really in hindsight, even if I would have got it done, early December or something, I probably wouldn't have, I would have still missed everything for this year anyways. But yeah, it was a little risky waiting that long too, but
Wow.
they got it
But
fixed anyways.
risky in what way? Like in risky in like your shoulder freezing and you're really screwed because the muscles die or something or what?
Yeah,
Oh, really? Oh, it's that
yeah.
bad.
So
Okay.
yeah, because when it tore right off, it retracted right, like it's a muscle up here and it retracted all the way down to my pec.
Oh
And
boy.
sometimes he said they can't get that muscle pulled back up to reattach it. And
Oh
if that's
geez.
the case, then they'll have to they'll graft a muscle or whatnot. But
Oh boy.
so I was lucky. He said the muscle was still very healthy, which was good.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay. I
you
didn't
don't want to
realize it
wait
was
too
that
long.
bad. That's crazy.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
know you probably shook Vern McDonald's hand though, and like his arm is
Yep.
dead from like it's screwed, right? Like his whole one arm is just
Yeah.
unfortunately
Well,
it's dead weight, right? Like it's just
yeah.
screwed.
Yeah, you don't want to wait that long. Well, even Coy's shoulder when he hurt it, it wasn't from leaving it too long, but I think they cut his nerve or something, that deltoid nerve, and his nerve, I think his deltoid nerve actually, or the deltoid muscle died. I don't know
Really?
if it half. I think most of it maybe came back, but
Holy
he
shit.
battled that for over a year,
Coy Robbins?
just that muscle. Hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah, remember when he blew that shoulder out in Camrose?
I don't
Or
really
no, it was Red Deer.
I don't really
Yeah,
recall.
Red Deer.
But holy shit. That's
It was
wild.
more or less
Well,
a surgery gone wrong in
oh,
that
okay.
case.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, Brooke, funny story. Brooke was the one that lined my shoulder surgery up because I did the same thing. I tore my rotator cuff and my labrum back in 2009 was the first time I dislocated it, and it came out 7 different times. And then, yeah, Brooke helped me get it fixed and get me going again like 13 years ago now was when I got my
Really?
surgery. It was like October 2013. Yeah. So So
Oh
she
shit, I
helped me
didn't
out
even know
too.
you blew your shoulder out.
Oh yeah, mine was
Yeah,
mangled right up.
it's not fun.
No, and then for me, like, I was never very good, but I had a really hard time coming back from it. What are your thoughts on coming
hmm
back from it, and just what are your like? Are you worried about it at all
The
that way? Like,
comeback, no, I'm not worried about it, especially because I didn't have any trouble with it, and they didn't. It wasn't a iffy surgery. Like they got her screwed down, and he said it's bolted down tight.
okay, good.
And I trust Acumen. Like those guys, they don't bullshit you, and
Hmm.
you go through the process, and you go through the whole rehab. And don't skip any steps, and I have full faith that they'll help me get to where I need to be with that
Hmm.
shoulder. The
Um,
other shoulder, though, I'm not too confident.
yeah, well, so that was the other thing. We didn't really get into it much yet, but you actually went in there today, and now you got to get the other one fixed too. You might have to get it done like here pretty quick, and then because you can't get them both done
Yeah,
at the same time, then you can't wipe your own ass. So you got like
yeah, I know.
now you got one good one.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I told him too. I said, yeah, that it would have been ideal to do them both at the same time, but I'd have to have someone wipe my ass. I don't think
Yeah.
Jordan would do that. But yeah, I went for an MRI last week, and I knew that shoulder had been bad. Obviously, I was kind of prepared for what they were going to tell me. I wasn't sure how bad it was going to be, but I was ready for, that's the game. That's how it goes. And yeah, it, uh, when I first heard it, I think was 19. Um, big, big white bull Kessler stepped on the back of my shoulder blade in Medicine Hat. And it must have tore then because I was pretty laid up with it for a while. And then I just took some time off, and then I rehabbed it a bit and went back to it. And then, after that, it just, the odd time it would kind of pop out, but it always go back in. It just kind of would pop out and slam back in. And fast forward to where we're at now, all of 2021, I really battled it before I got in with Acumen. And then I got in with Acumen, and they got me on a good rehab program. And we braced it as well for all of 2022, and it was
That's your
good. I didn't have
free
any
arm, right? Or no, your riding arm.
uh, riding arm, yeah. So
Okay.
it wasn't. That's why we weren't too worried about it because I didn't have to get it up in the air, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like 2021, it popped out probably. I don't know, like every time I'd ride, it would happen, and I
Oh,
wasn't even braced at the time. I was just fighting through that year.
brutal.
So it probably come out 30, 40 times.
Oh, brutal.
And so then last year rehab it was pretty strong, but it would still happen. And then this winter, I noticed it a lot, just doing heavy duty mechanic work. I'd have my arm in the air and be pushing on something, and it would just pop out.
Oh,
And when
no.
it pops out, it's very aggressive. Like it'll drop you right to your knees, and you get sick, and
Yeah.
you can't do anything with your arm. Obviously, you know that feeling,
Yeah.
right?
It's awful.
So yeah, so the 40 or 50 or 60, however many times this has happened to me, damn near every bull I got on since,
Oh,
it's wore that the ball is slammed into that socket so many times it's wore that socket down,
oh
and
no.
that ball is very deformed now. So yeah, that's what I had the discussion with that guy today about my MRI. He said your labrum's completely screwed. He said it's tore all over on the front, the bottom, and the back side of it. And he said your ligaments are stretched on the bone where the muscle attaches. So even rehabbing the muscles isn't really going to help that stability because it's still not tightening the ligaments that are attached to the bone. So they'd have to
Oh
cut
man.
those, shorten them or whatever.
Oh man.
So it would be quite the process, and then probably a bone graft on the back of my ball or socket to fill that dent
Jeez.
so it can't pop out as easy.
Holy shit.
So yeah, now my goal for like coming back with this right shoulder for January is I don't even, my head is still spinning from today. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet
Oh man.
because it's either he said it's too early to do it right now, just because this shoulder isn't fully even ready to work.
Yeah.
And so that would put me, I wouldn't be able to get done until after the wedding, and that's mid-August. So I might be, by the time you get your CT scans and your MRIs, you might be end of September, October. Say October is early, it's a 6 month recovery at least. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Then I'm already into the springtime. I've already missed my winter rodeos and my stuff there. So I would just have to readjust my focus to, a good year in Canada, and
Holy.
maybe in the fall get into some stuff. Because I really, my goal was I want to make a run for the NFR. I wanted to push down south rodeo hard as much as I could all year next year. But yeah,
Jeez. And you can't even get it done yet, like ahead of time, because you're kind of
no.
you can't get it done now
Yeah,
to
like
get back in better time.
Yeah, he needs to see this shoulder, fully working, because they won't completely disable you. And I also wouldn't get it done before the wedding, because
true.
there's way too much shit to do, right?
Oh,
I wouldn't even be able to, I'd be in a sling.
That sucks. So, but
yeah,
but
it's definitely not
it's
ideal,
so mangled too. And you're what age are you now? 26 or 7?
27, yeah.
27. So basically, and you're going to be 28 this year. Or are you early year?
Yeah.
You'll be 28
I'll
this
be
year?
28 in December.
In December.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'd be you're losing like a whole year and a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it definitely takes a year off.
Well, and
it is tough. And I really haven't processed it quite yet. Like I said, I just found this out
today,
not too many hours ago. So I was on the drive home is really all I've had to think about it. So
yeah,
I don't really know. Yeah, I have to sleep on it for a bit, because I'm not, that's what one thing is, maybe I'm prone, my body's a little more prone to injuries or whatever,
Why do you think that might be though? Like, why do you think you might be more prone to it? Like, why?
I don't know. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's maybe you're too wooden headed, sometimes you got bucked off either way, but you could have took
tucked and rolled better,
easy way out. Yeah. Or, like sometimes you got to know when to try and when to fly. Yeah. But,
that's
I don't know. It's just, you see it with, there's lots of people, I'm not no bodybuilder, I'm not one of them guys. It's just a gym junkie, right? But you see them guys that were in amazing shape, like Chad Bestplug,
he got hurt.
That guy was just in awesome shape all the time, for what I remember, and he had his shoulders done numerous times. So I don't know. Is it just luck of the draw? Is it maybe? Yeah. Obviously, I think probably not being a bigger guy, less muscle maybe affects that. But whether you got 200 pounds of muscle or 130 pounds of muscle, when an 1,800-pound bull steps on you, it's gonna tear something regardless.
You're still screwed. Yeah.
I don't really know what it is. But that's part of the game. I'm not gonna sit here and bitch and for me, I'm the only guy that's ever been injured, right? But it's definitely not ideal.
No, I feel for you, Lonnie. That's a tough one. I don't know what a guy would do, because you're like, you don't want to. Well, like
that's a good decision.
Yeah, like I mean, I was never, like I told you before, like I was never good enough to have a problem like this, to think like to make a living at this and want to try and come back. But that's quite the dilemma to have to think about, being potentially off that long and missing bigger part of 2 seasons almost. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, really, like, especially I had some goals in mind, right, that I wanted to hit. Like, I'm not getting any younger, obviously, so it'd be nice to rodeo when you're still able to, rodeo hard.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the way I see it, I got 3 options. You got option A, you could just take the easy way out and quit.
True.
Say fuck it.
Yeah.
Which I'm not gonna do.
Honestly, yeah, you could. Yeah.
Or you could take, that extra half a year, whatever it works out to be. Say you
6
lose
more
another
months.
year.
You get it done in September.
Whatever.
You get it done like August 19th, and then you're back. You might be back for San Antonio. Maybe it's February. Like it's 6 months is probably the short end of it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. And San Antonio's, I think, end of January.
February. It's February.
Start of February. Yeah. Or maybe it's midway.
So you might be able.
So
to
you can either get it. Yeah, you can be optimistic for sure. I just know
Yeah.
unless I'm going to pay for a private one, going through that public one like I did, you definitely have to wait. But also the guy that did my surgery, he's pretty badass. Like when I first talked to him, he said, I don't care what we got to do. He said, you need your shoulder fixed yesterday. He said, I'll cancel whatever the hell I got going on. He was cussing just like I do.
Oh,
He was
really?
awesome.
Holy.
Yeah, he said, fuck it, I'll get you in. I'll do you right in the emergency room, whatever hospital I can get you in. Like,
Oh, really?
and he
Oh,
did.
shit.
He got me and he called me like I had a week notice
Really? Holy shit.
when he called
So
me.
where'd you
Yeah.
go to do it at?
Right at the Grey Nuns in Edmonton.
Oh,
That's where
really?
he ended up doing it.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Huh.
So I'm sure he would probably get me in soon. So you got option B,
Do
get them
both.
both done and
Yeah.
be done with it because
Yeah.
I've been battling it for long enough.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 seasons now.
Yeah, it's aggravating. It gets old being the guy that's always walking out, looking like you're hurt, and maybe
And you
people
are,
think you're a
'cause your
pussy.
fucking
Maybe they
shoulder's
think you're
wrecked.
faking it or what. But
Yeah, no, definitely not.
either way, it's like you don't want the spotlight on you for being hurt.
Yeah.
I think I remember Aaron Roy when he broke his back there for 5 years after his intros. All it was this guy broke his back and he's back. That's get over it. Like the injury stuff gets old.
Yeah.
Or I've been thinking maybe, do what I did in 2022. 2022 was the best year I ever had,
Yeah.
money wise and finals wise and whatnot. And that was just through rehab. But the only thing that's steering me away from that is even, I had a good year. My daily stuff at home, I couldn't lift my arm above my head. I couldn't do any overhead work. When my thumb was pointing down, it would want to roll out. So even though I had a good year, it wasn't like I was back to normal.
Yeah.
We just, because it was my riding arm, we knew we could tie it down.
Yeah.
And as long as it didn't get stretched out. And that also got me in a shitload of wrecks, which I didn't like at all.
Yeah.
Like,
and you can't catch yourself to get on, to land on land on all fours, because it'll go out the end too, and you can't lift it up there, so you're like T-Rex arming it, and it's fucking
and it's dangerous. Like look at I had both shoulders hurt, but when I heard it in the last round or second round at CFR last year, I had both shoulders were taped completely down. I couldn't pick up both shoulders even level with my
holy shit
with my shoulder blades. So, and I was landing, I would just get off, I would let go. I had no momentum because you got no arm. I would just get off, look over to the side, and land on my back. Like Big Bird almost stepped on my head.
Oh no.
And then I had that big white Kessers wrecked me out in like round 4. It was just not pretty at all.
Jeez, man, I did not know this is what you're going through. And
then remember the week after at the PBR finals, Edmonton. I knew my shoulders wrecked. I thought, piss on her, I'm going to get on anyways.
Yeah.
And I had my old buddy Positively Banging that I've won a shitload of money on, and he about killed me. And then I finally realized it was like, hey, I think Prescott actually ran over in one of them deals on my next bowl. Then I kind of said, okay, I'm a fucking liability. Like,
yeah,
I gotta go get this.
I gotta get this fixed.
So I didn't even compete the second day.
And
you say what I'm getting at is you just don't want to be that guy that's always hurt, always putting bullfighters in the they're Brett and Tanner and Ty and all them guys are the best in the business. So you're not worried about it because they're going to step in for you, but you don't want to be getting them hurt.
Yeah,
because you're
because you're compromised. Honestly, you're very compromised.
So
what do you we didn't get to C yet. What's C? We got A is quit, B is get them both fixed. I guess C was roll on,
which I'm leaning towards B right now. Honestly, I just talked to Brock right before this, and he said get them both fixed and get them right.
Yeah,
and really, if I can get it, even if it's a 6-month recovery, if I can get it fixed in say October at the latest, then I'm not a full 6 months after this year off. Like I can overlap them last 2 months, October, November, when I was gonna come back, say December. I'm saving 2 months. So
wait, you'd ride
if I can't go to the winter,
you'd ride this fall and then get the next one fixed and ride again the next year.
No, I would. after the wedding and whatnot this year, I would get it fixed.
Okay.
This October, and then I would be back, say, maybe
April,
shoot
May.
for Coy's bull riding or something,
Yeah, in May. Yeah, get a full season of PBR Canada stuff. You can still win $100,000 in Canada.
And that's what I'd do. If I'm going to do that, I'll just focus on, I'd really like to get a Canadian champion bull riding.
Yeah.
In the CPRA and the PBR.
Yeah, both. Absolutely.
Canada stuff. So, I'd just focus hard on those national championships. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd be happy if I could just go bull riding next year, right?
And you can get your qualifications up for the PRCA just in Canada too. Like, look at how much Parsnip won last year. Like he won a shitload just in Canada, didn't he? Did he win like 60,000?
Yeah, and he won quite a bit up here. And I mean, you can, if I'm back in the springtime, you can roll into, you hit Ponoka, right? Like I did last year. Well, you're going to win 30,000 and
you're rocking.
It's not easy, but like it's doable. It's definitely doable. Even missing the big road. Well, and Jordan Hansen, like that guy's made the NFR
a few times.
Not just from, but like, he's had really good falls that have boosted him up there.
Oh yeah.
So
and you had a $46,000 regular season in Canada. Like that's pretty huge.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's not the end of the world. Like I just putting it in perspective, it's shitty what I'm going through, but like my younger brother Bryce, look what he's gone through. In 5 years, he's been on like 4 bulls or 5 bulls just because his hips are so bad. And he finally just got a full hip replacement 2 weeks before I got my shoulder fixed. He paid for one. He flew out to Montreal to a hip specialist, and they cut his femur off and hammered a rod in there and a porcelain ball and fixed her up.
No way.
So he's hoping to come back for the fall too. He's kind of shooting for the October PBR stuff, I guess.
What does Bryce do for a living otherwise? I don't know
that. He started off last year selling like deer horn dog treats kind of. And now he's kind of just grown out of that, and he's actually just kind of like wholesaling, I guess you'd say, deer antler, elk antler. He just buys and sells, cuts up deer horn for people that sell them to whatever for dog treats or.
Oh wow! Right on.
He's been super busy with it.
Where does he get everything from?
All over. Drives just all over Alberta and Saskatchewan. If you got loads of deer horn or anything elk antler and all that stuff. So, but yeah, he's hoping to come back this year, be his first year back since 2020. I think he got on one bull at Chad's bull riding before they canceled it. Or before the COVID stuff hit.
The year, 20, the same year. So I'm just looking at some of the stats. Just wanted to look back and do a few things here, but so Billy won the permit and the rookie of the year in 2014. Then you won the rookie of the year in 2015, and you won the steer riding in 2009. Is that right?
No, never did. I never did win the steer riding.
I thought you did.
Bryce won it in 2009, or maybe he won it in 2010 or something.
I gotta go look.
I won Calgary, but I never won.
Oh, okay, that's where I went wrong. But then you had the 92.
2000.
They tried to mark you 100 in the steer riding. You got a 92 in Camrose.
That was my claim to fame, my highest score until Ponoka last year.
Till Ponoka last year. Man, I forgot about that. Let's get into some of that now. So I guess we can talk about your family a little bit afterwards too. But you with Billy winning, or like you guys both won the rookie of the year titles and whatnot that way. But I would say, well, out of the three of you're the most accomplished to this point. But there's no saying Billy, is he still going all or done, or where is he at with things? I don't even know that.
He's done. I would say
he's quit.
Never
called it good.
Said it, but I think he's done. He
back.
Just actually had another little girl last week.
Yeah.
So he's got
congrats.
4 little ones running around, and he's plenty busy and
okay.
happy with that.
No time for bull riding now. But But your dad, so you won Calgary in the steer riding. Did either of your other brothers win it too? I forget now.
No, Bryce won.
Canada in
Bryce won.
2010.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah, I won Calgary in 2008. But no,
Okay.
honestly, as a steer rider, like I, I mean, I wouldn't say I wasn't good, I guess, but like Bryce did a lot of the winning,
Mm-hmm.
and going through the ranks like junior bull riding, I won the one year. I won
All three amateur
in the LR.
associations, didn't you?
No, I won two, but the year before that, Billy was still riding junior bulls, and I won runner up to him in the FCA, LRA, and the WRA because
Oh,
he won them
geez.
all.
Oh, geez. And so for
So
those
it was
for those that
tough
don't
sledding.
know, those are all the semi-pro amateur associations in Alberta. The WRA is the Wild Rose Rodeo Association, kind of like the northwest part of the province. LRA is northeast part of the province. Lakeland Rodeo, and then FCA is Foothills Cowboys. Used to be the finals in Red Deer, but now where I don't even know. Strathmore, Nanton.
I don't know. They've
Kind of gone a bit
they
rogue
bounced
lately.
around a bit. Honestly,
Yeah.
I've been looking at some of the amateur stuff. I looked at some stuff from the LRA yesterday. I think it was just it popped up, and there's like no one going at them anymore. Like when we were steer riders, there was
It's a big deal back
there
then.
was 30 kids going. You know, there was 20 amateur bull riders. Like it was a battle.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was tough for an amateur guy. It was tough winning. Like you had to be riding. You know, it was all of us, Billy, Rice, Brock, Justin Carlier,
Yeah.
Armando Davila, guys. You know, it was good coming up. And Jordy Hansen, Todd Kudowitz.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
Todd
group
did
of
really
us.
good at those too, didn't he? Remember that? Todd was
Yeah,
like
Todd.
season leader in the FCA, wasn't he?
Yeah, he triple crowned the
Did won all
FCA,
three. That's
LRA,
right.
and WRA one year. Yeah.
That's right.
Jake Stemo, he was riding bulls back then. He was
Oh really?
salty.
Dang.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, and so
But
going back.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say too. Yeah, going back to that. So Billy won the Rookie of the Year in 14 in the CPRA, and I won it in 15.
Yeah.
But Dad won it and has the same plaque. Actually, they never changed those plaques.
Oh,
in
same award.
85, I believe. Yep.
Oh really?
I think it was 85. He won the Rookie.
Which
You can probably find
that's steer riding. I'm just gonna go back to rookie. So permit award. What are we going back to? 85. Clayton Keeley 85 won the permit award. Rod Hay won it in 89. That's kind of cool. Where's the rookie of the year though? Not the cow milking. That's not the right one. Rookie of the year. Okay, 86. Kevin West, 1986.
86. Okay.
Yeah, but then, so your dad won the 50,000 in Calgary in 89, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he honestly had a short career, and now that I think about it, I'm not that my career's been short, but kind of following in his footsteps is because he retired from a bad shoulder.
Oh, was it? I thought he
broke,
blew his knee up in like Alabama or something one time. I remember that.
Yeah, he did.
About that
he
too.
did yeah, he blew his knee up too, but he broke his shoulder. I think the knee was right before. It was kind of just a jumbled up thing of injuries, but he broke his ball right off his arm, whatever bone that is. Mm-hmm. And then he never got it fixed. So
really?
he had an option to get it fixed, but he wouldn't be able to ride again, and then he would still be out for a year or whatever with the surgeries, and then with a replacement shoulder, they say they're not very good, or just quit, let it heal.
Holy shit.
And him, like, his shoulder's terrible. I don't want to be like that.
Still probably, hey, like it's still probably mangled.
Yeah, like there was some times there a few years ago, like it would just fall out when he was sleeping, and he'd wake up and his shoulder is dislocated, and then he would jam it under the mattress and lean on the mattress and pull and get it back in place, at 3 in the morning.
Shit. Holy
so
shit.
he needs his done. I've been telling him that he should go and get it, but he doesn't think there's a good time for it.
Holy shit.
So I don't want to be like that, because that's what this guy was telling me, that, if you don't get yours fixed, you're going to be full of arthritis and it's going to be shitty. But
yeah.
Anyways.
Crap. So it sounds like option B at this point, unfortunately.
I'm thinking option B. We'll see what the morning brings.
Yeah. Yeah, sleep on it. Always got to sleep on those kind of things. So okay, so I want to go back. You had I got to talk about Pinoca, because we just had Nansen on the other day, and he said that was like I don't know if it was one of, or if he said it was the best ride he's seen in maybe ever up here. Like that was such a badass ride. Like I thought you were gonna be like 94 that day. That was so awesome. So setting it
Yeah,
up though, sorry, it's the short round in Pinoca, the final 4 round in Pinoca. Like the last guy of the whole show, somebody else was just 90, were they not? Like wasn't Edgar somebody just 90?
yeah, Jerry was like 89 and a
Jerry.
half or something on
Yeah.
that Calgary Bowl.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Parsons,
it was an
that's a big
awesome
one.
week.
Yeah.
Where like me and Jerry battled it out all week there. I think can't remember what he ended up in the long round. He was like, maybe he was second, I think, or something, or third. And then we went to the 12 round, and Jared won second in that. I won first in the 12 round, and then he went first, or not first, but he went before me in the 4 round and was like 89 and a half or 90 or whatever he was. So that was that alone to me, like just that atmosphere just makes it a bull riding like that. It just makes a bull ride seem so much better, you know. If you're 92 points at Kennedy Rodeo, it's
not as
the
big
same
of a deal.
thing, 92 points at Pinoca.
Yeah.
Not the Kennedy, not shit on the rodeo, but you know. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Like that, I would say that was probably my jammiest bull ride. Maybe not the toughest ride I've ever made, but you know, some tough rides you're only 78 points.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. And that one,
Yeah.
it looked pretty smooth though. Like the bull went the same way, but he was super up and down. Like it seemed like he was really, really steep.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are the rides that just make you never ever want to have to quit bull riding because
Yeah.
you know, in that moment it was like it was all on the line. I remember climbing in right after Jerry went, and I just smiled to myself. I thought, fuck yeah, this is what we live for. These are the moments, you know, it's time to shine. You've taught yourself all you can teach yourself. Your body knows what to do. And honestly, just climbing in there, I was excited, but I wasn't even really nervous. I just thought I didn't know anything about the bull for one. Nansen had just brought him up. I think he bucked him at Wainwright once.
Oh wow. Okay.
The week before. Yeah, Tyler Craig got on him. So when we went up there and drew him out of the hat, and Nansen had told me, he said, that's the one you want. But I didn't know anything of him. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even
Had
have
no
time to
idea.
watch videos because you go over there and pick him out of the hat, and then it's like, okay, let's go time. So he said that was the one you want, and that was the one I drew. So I thought, well, shit, because it probably wouldn't have been my pick. If I had a pick, probably would have picked one of them bulls that I had seen.
You know? Yeah. Not just a total newbie.
Not that he wasn't good, but honestly, if I wouldn't have picked, say if I would have picked something different, you know, or whatever, it could have played out either way. But
oh yeah,
that was probably the bull that you would get the highest score on for sure. Like that was the one you needed if you wanted to win.
Yeah. So it worked out.
It worked out, and riding, I'm like, yeah, he was a fairly honest bull, but I just remember when he stacked him up out of there, it felt like I was like, holy shit! It's either, you know, those moments when you're riding and you don't know if your heels are going to click and fly over your head or if you're going to make that next round. And he was kind of snatching my chin, and I just tried tucking my chin as hard as I could, and I was just chucking for all I was worth. And the whistle went, and I actually got off of my feet. I don't know how I managed that, but everything just was worked out better than I could have planned it. But I always think about that ride.
There's not a lot of times where I get jacked up in my spot, but like that was one where I was screaming the whole time. I was so pumped up to see such a good ride.
Yeah, I appreciate when I come back and Jared was laughing. He was happy. He was, you know, Jared's just an awesome buddy and traveling partner. You know, he appreciates a good competition, right? You know, he's one of those guys that he's gonna put out the effort and probably make a good ride, and he appreciates when, you know, when he's riding against it too. And he just slapped me on the back and said that was freaking legit. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought, hell yeah. So Pinoca though, like I got a lot of history with Pinoca.
Yeah.
Because my rookie year, that's
was it Cooper's
basically what sealed it. Yeah. So that year I went to Sundry, and I didn't even have, or it was right. Yeah, I think it was Sundry. I had entered Pinoca, but I was on my semi-pro or my permit, or I was on my permit. And if I didn't win money at Sundry, my card wouldn't have been filled for my money to count at Pinoca.
Oh, no way.
And I needed I needed 200 some bucks, I think. And I won like 250 in day money. I didn't even place at the rodeo, I don't think.
No
won
way.
enough day money at Sundry. So I called in because that's the weekend right before Pinoca.
Yeah.
Called into the office and said, hey, like, I just want to make sure that you guys got my semi-pro updated and we're good to go here. And they did, got it updated. And then, yeah, didn't win Pinoca, but I had a pretty good week there. I placed in the long round. And then I was the only guy to ride in the 12 round. And I had that Cooper's Comment, another bull I didn't know anything of. And that was probably, I think that bull ride was probably even with the bull ride I made there last year. Like I was 90 3/4 there, but that bull was bucking, went both ways, tried me both ways. I had him gathered up both ways. So, and I ended up winning a shitload that week too. So that's kind of what sealed my rookie of the year.
And your first trip to the CFR, because it all counted then, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
And I remember looking back, that was my goal because Billy had won. Dad had won the rookie of the year, and Billy had won it the year before. So I was like, okay, I don't even care if I make CFR or however it works out. I said I need to win the rookie of the year because you got one shot. So that was my goal that year, and it worked out. Thankfully for Pinoca Stampede.
How much did you win out of there?
I think, dude, I can't remember. I think it was like 15,000 or something.
15,000. So both years you probably won 15,000 or so.
Last year I won like 25,000 out of Pinoca.
Holy shit!
Because there was only 2 rides in the 12 round, and there was only 2 rides in the 4 round. So me and Jared won a bunch of ground money, and I won every single round. Yeah.
Holy shit. So
yeah, and then I went to Williams Lake and won like 3,000 or 3,500 there. So I had like a $29,000 week.
Holy.
Between 2 rodeos.
What'd you do with all your cashola at the end of the week?
I don't know. It went somewhere. I don't have it though.
It's gone. Man, that's neat. That's neat to think about Pinoca though. I know. I loved Pinoca. That was my favorite place. I always just like walked through the tunnel and just thought it was so cool, right? Like that was the first place that I ever.
That's my favorite rodeo. I've got a lot of history with, like, I won it in steer riding in 2009, I think, and that's the John Dodds Memorial. Buckle.
That's right.
That's the one the steer riders want to win.
Yeah.
I rode the Bounty Cow there one year, or I guess that year, because the winner gets on the Bounty Cow. I was 86 on the Bounty Cow. Won the Bounty
really? And
won quite a bit there, because at Pinoca back then, I don't know if it's still the same, but if they didn't ride the Bounty Cow the year before, that all that money rolls over.
Yeah. So how many years was it?
I can't remember, because Billy won it not too many years before that, and he rode the Bounty Cow. So I didn't get that much, but as a steer rider, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I guess. Dang, that's really
and
cool.
then there's been a couple more years Pinoca in the bull riding. In 2019, I think I placed in the long round pretty good. I made it to the 12 round. Didn't ride in the 12 round, but yeah, it's one definitely you don't want to miss. So hopefully next year, guy can be there healed up for that one.
I even liked going there as the high school rodeos. Like it was one of the first places that it was actually the place that launched my career. For some reason, I was going to like the amateur rodeos, and then my dad or like we were going to some, and they're like, "Oh, you guys should come to the pro rodeos too." And like I hadn't done shit before Pinoca, right? Like for some reason we were just gonna go to the pros. So ended up I had you would know Clayton Hines would know who he was. And so Clayton's dad gave me some chaps to wear, and they were like from the 1950s, and they're really, really cool chaps looking back, but they were like, I didn't look like I belonged at this point. I didn't have any like real chaps. They were like, there's no fringe on them. They like tied up really weird, and I had a garbage shirt on and a hockey helmet, and like I just looked like a total noob, right? But showed up there, and Donnie Johansson's in the chute and helps me in the chute, and I hadn't even been to one of their schools, right? So to show up and like go to Pinoca and win 3rd place in Pinoca when I was like 12, like one of the first places I really ever stayed on, and it was like Donnie in the chute saying, "Yeah, do this, this, and this," and then like hang on, and he's, you know, setting the guy's rope. And like, if it wasn't for that day in
Yeah.
Ponoka and for some reason deciding to go to these pro rodeos, I wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
I probably would have just never amounted to anything. But then proceeded to go to
Yeah, that'll do it.
night and just get totally dunked on my brain, on the back of my head. Just Jesus, take the wheel and fly off the back. But I love Ponoka, man.
Yeah,
Even the high school rodeos, like
Yeah.
I got more buckles from Ponoka than anywhere in my rodeo career. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's
quite the
one
place.
you don't want to miss. Yeah.
100%. What do you
And
think it
it's,
is
you know,
about?
that's
Sorry, go ahead.
it's just like all the over the years, you know, all the big champions, whether it's CPRA or PRCA, you know, they've somewhere down the line they've rode a Ponoka, won Ponoka, you know, they just attract. Well, obviously they have a shitload of money added, so they get guys
Yeah.
from all over, and it's just a huge rodeo. Great atmosphere, a lot of cowboys hanging out there. You know, it's just, the whole atmosphere of it is just, it's awesome. Like that's rodeos like that is what gets it in your blood and why you want to keep going.
The prestige and the like,
Mhm.
well, and the big money, honestly. Like, you can win, for you to be
Mhm.
able to win 25 grand in one freaking
Yeah.
weekend, like it'll make or
Yeah,
break
that's
your
crazy.
year. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's wild. Yeah, so you won 5,300 in the average, and you won 3,500, so you're already at 8,000, another 55 plus day money. Holy shit, that's a good
Mhm.
payday. Hell of a
Yeah.
payday. What about so what did it feel like to finally beat your steer riding score? Like, was that like a bit of a monkey off your back? Just like,
Yeah, honestly, like looking back, it was pretty cool, but I wish they would have just marked me 80 something in the steer ride. Like
do you think it was a
it was so
92? Or did they
no,
load you up? Why would they load you up like
they
that?
loaded. I don't know. I mean, in person it probably looked pretty rank, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Just one of those deals. I mean, it was pretty cool. I probably talked about it when I was steer rider forever, but
Yeah.
over the years, it's kind of just become the big joke. Not a joke, but you know, people always
Yeah.
bring it up.
Being 92 isn't really a joke, but there was, I guess, like one of the higher scores for a long time. I don't know if it was in the record books or whatnot, but I think like the record was like 86 for quite a while, and then Ty Patton was 87 one time
Mhm.
in the steer
Yep.
riding on that 01, that cow in Strathmore when
Yeah.
the finals weren't at the CFR. But then you would have beat,
Mhm.
like, you guys beat that record a few times, I think, after Ty, because Ty's ride was like pretty badass from the steer riding to be like 87 points in
Yeah.
the cow riding. Two
Yeah, I
lines
remember
down.
that cow. It was that big black cow Brad Means.
Yeah.
01 we called her. She didn't have
Yeah.
a name, just that was her number 01. And
Yeah.
she was the real deal. Like she'd go overhead and turn back right in the latch and make a few rounds, and then she'd hop, skip, and go the other way if you were riding her. I got on her a couple times. My first year was her last year, thank God. Got on her at Calgary once, and she about ripped my head off. Then I got
Really?
on her at the finals at Strathmore. That was last year they had it at Strathmore, and yeah, she destroyed me in no time.
Man,
And she was scary. She was big.
Well, I remember I got on her in the short round at Calgary, and they marked her 45 points. That I remember Ty and I split the long round. We were both 80, which was like huge for me at the time to win. You know, the only time I ever got to go ride at Calgary, but win the long round with Ty, and then get on that cow. And I remember the feeling vividly where it was like she spun on her front feet. Like I could feel I was sitting on her, and her feet just like were stationary and her butt was kicking around. I was like, this is crazy. And then I looked at for some reason I looked at the sponsor sign on the chute, and then I just went directly into the ground. Just like had a little bit of a lapse in judgment, just like thought I was like, holy shit, this is wild.
She'd kind of walk on her front feet, and you'd have that, you know, that hang time in the air where nothing was really happening except she was
weird.
walking on her front feet.
Yeah.
Then she'd bust in half and about
slam dunk
you
me.
in half.
Yeah,
the good old steer riding days.
Yeah, geez, the memories. Nobody else knows what we're even talking about, but how shitty was it to have the finals in Strathmore? We got to talk about that a little bit on the steer riding just for a little while. Like, I think it's cool that we get to go to CFR, but it was so shitty in Strathmore.
Yeah, I mean, when I was rode there, it was just, I didn't really think much of it. Like, I didn't think
that's
it was
true. I'm not saying
because, you know,
I'm not thinking Strathmore shitty either. I'm just saying it was shitty not to get to go to the CFR for those couple years. It was like 4 years that it wasn't there.
Yeah, but at the time we didn't know any different, right? Because we never got to ride at the CFR.
Yeah, I guess, eh?
But once we went that next year to the CFR, yeah, it was like, I do not want to go back to Strathmore.
Yeah, but then Strathmore was a
'Cause-
huge rodeo again because they added a bunch of money.
Yeah, that was the one you wanted to go to during the season to collect some bucks to get to the CFR.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's cool to go through the ranks and whatever path you went on. Just you have stories from it, and it was what it was. We didn't have a bad time doing it. It was still. So that was the thing about steer riding that I always miss. As you get into the pro sports and as you move through the ranks, it gets super serious, right? You're always, it's a job. Like you have to take it serious. It's not no joke. But back when you're a steer rider, you just didn't care about anything. You didn't care if you had sponsors on your vest or if your chaps were ripped in half or if your hat was crooked or backwards on your head. Like you just jumped in the truck. Your dad usually paid for gas, probably. Told you what rodeos you were going to. You didn't do any driving. You just went and got on a steer and then just
had a great time.
Caused havoc at the rodeo until you went to the next one.
Although
you had no worries. Right?
Although your dad probably could out havoc you at times on the road.
Yeah, he would definitely out havoc.
Wasn't there?
Him and Lindsay Carlier had more fun, I think, going down the road than we did as steer riders.
Well,
and Dad wouldn't even drive.
Oh no shit! Was there?
Yeah.
You can correct me if I'm wrong here. Don't tell me. Tell me if I'm giving you bad info. But wasn't there a time with the cops in Strathmore or was it Jimmy Finkbeiner where they couldn't get him in the cop car? There was something bad going on. Was it Jimmy or was that your dad?
Yeah. No, that was old Kevy.
Oh, that was Kevin.
I wasn't there. I was actually Bryce was. I think I must have been riding Junior Bulls then because I wasn't there. But Bryce was riding in Strathmore that next day or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was riding in short round and Dad wasn't there. Mom had to go rescue him from wherever they had him.
Oh no. Oh no.
Bit of an incident. Probably shouldn't get into what happened, but yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I just remember there being a story about somebody getting having to take because your dad is tough as shit. Like he is a wiry fucking tough son of a bitch, right? Like he's not somebody that anybody fucks with. And it took 6 cops to get him in the cop car or something, apparently.
Yeah, I can't remember how it happened. I just know there was a punch out at McDonald's and Scott Byrne and Nansen Vold and I think Tanner Byrne was there. Yeah. They were all in the same van when this fight broke out.
In the drive-thru in McDonald's after the cabaret, or
in the drive? Yeah, it must have been. I don't know what they were doing. Obviously, they were partying somewhere, but old Heavy Kevy got in a punch up. And it wasn't his first one or his last one.
Who's the toughest of the West brothers currently? Can you say?
Oh, probably handiest fighting would definitely be Bryce.
Oh yeah.
But I think Billy's probably the toughest.
He's got dad strength now, though. I guess though that's superpowers.
Yeah, and he's got dad strength times 4. So
times 4, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever been in a couple scuffles, but Bruce, he's been in quite a few.
Huh. Talk about Kevin. Oh, is he? He's the youngest one. Didn't fall far from the tree, from the fighting tree.
Yeah.
What? Talk about his music a little bit. I think that's pretty neat that he's in the music business now and going on that path.
Yeah, he plays all the time. He was putting some stuff online, like social media there for a bit, kind of during COVID, I think it was more or less. He doesn't really do that anymore, but he still plays every day, probably, I would say. And he does a few gigs. He did I think he played in Lethbridge Bar last fall, did a couple of shows there. And he's actually going to this weekend, I guess he's playing for Curtis Anderson. He's got that trail ride.
The trail ride, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's this weekend.
Yeah.
But he's going up there to play at Curtis's deal or whatever. I think one of them Saturday nights or something. But yeah, he's always jamming. And that kind of runs in the family. I don't play. I just sing along and tap my leg. But Grandma, she's very musical. So that's where Bryce got his start.
Okay.
And Dad's very musically talented too. Not many people know that. But
really? What does he do?
Yeah. He can play guitar, but usually he'll play the dobro. It's like a slide steel guitar kind of with a little metal slide on it.
No way.
Or plays the harmonicas a lot. He's really good at the harmonicas.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So
So
they're
is
always jamming, like all our brandings and stuff. They're always, everyone sits around and they play music, and it's a good time.
did you guys have your branding yet this year
Just had it,
on the weekend?
yeah, 2 days ago or something.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Oh, right on.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you guys, family ranches, and
Yep.
your dad is first generation rodeo cowboy, third, second. I don't know about about his dad.
Yeah, he's a first generation. Grandpa, um, always been around, like, always grew up with the ranch and stuff, but he never rodeoed. They didn't really, not that they don't support rodeo, but they were, not one that would just jump right into it.
Okay.
So dad got his start through the uncles, like, well, I call him Uncle Bill, but it's more or less dad's uncle, kind of great uncle, Bill Lay, hanging around those guys when he was young, just getting on calves, and they kind of got him going on the steers.
Okay.
Um, and then our Uncle Don Kozlinski, they grew up around kind of the same areas, like Alec Lay, Albert Lay, kind of grew up the Lays in that area, and he kind of just toured around with them. They got him going riding steers, and pretty soon he just started, going to all the amateur rodeos, and he went from there and kind of just paved his own way, really.
Oh, right on.
And
Well,
that's
and
yeah.
for those that don't know either, Billy Lay, I want to say a few times made the Wrangler NFR in the bareback riding.
Yep.
A few times, I think. And
Yeah,
I would. Sorry,
he
go
was
ahead.
very successful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Billy Lay, yeah, was the well, Bill Lay too. But Billy Lay's dad, Bill, is who we always call him Uncle Bill. He's pretty a little bit down the line related to us. Just he's more or less grandma's side. So he was actually married to, was married to my grandma's sister.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
Bill Lay, and that's kind of who got Dad going on the rodeo
Okay.
stuff. I think
Because I was gonna.
the
Okay.
older crew.
I was thinking Billy's the
Mhm.
same age as your dad, so I was mixed up on some timeline.
Yeah, I don't know how old Billy would be. He'd be a little older.
A little older.
Well, but
Okay.
he
Should be similar though,
well,
because he won
yeah,
Canada
because he
in
was.
'91, so it'd be similar timing to your dad, or had to be kind of similar, I think. Eh?
Yeah, but he's a world champion bareback rider too, is he not?
No, no. There's only been
Or
one,
won the average?
maybe won the average. Yeah, maybe won the average. Because I think he won a couple
Yeah.
rounds at the NFR. So,
Yeah.
but there's only been one Canadian bareback rider to win the world, and it was back in like 1933, I think. But
Oh, really?
anyways,
Shit.
I was curious about that though. I didn't know the whole story as
Mhm.
far as the
Yeah.
origin. But man, I gotta go back to the
Yeah.
shoulder thing. What's the weirdest place you had your shoulder come out? Is it working?
I don't know it. Yeah, working it happened quite a few times.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just whenever,
Yeah.
whenever it felt like it needed
And
to fall out, I guess.
the worst one I had was I was laying in the pool when I was in school in Vegas because we had a pool at the house, and I was just hanging out, just chilling on like a whatever day it was, hanging out like this, and there was a dog that swam up and like touched his like wet nose on my elbow, and my shoulder just like I just kind of like went like this, and it fell out, and then I had like one arm paddle my way out of the swimming pool.
Oh, it's
And then
terrible.
then my buddy Josh, I like flew up, like jumped up on the bar, and I was like, pull my arm, and he like pulled it back, pulled it down, and like jammed my shoulder back in after laying in the fucking swimming pool. It came out like that. I thought you might have a story like that. If it came out 60 times, you're probably in a bit of a jam at one point. Like you probably had to figure out how to put it back in yourself too at some point too, I'd imagine.
So this one, actually the one I just had fixed, when it first come out, well, at Eureka, when I heard it, I had to do I was sitting on the buck and shooting it. It come out and it was not going back in. And I laid down on the grass, and one guy, John, I think his name is John Smith, actually.
Yeah.
Bull rider from down there. He
Montana.
was pulling on it because he had a bunch of shoulder injuries. So he told me what to do. He said, lay down on the grass and put your feet up against my knees or whatever, and I'm just gonna pull, and you just bend over and relax, kind of try and touch your chest to your knees, and take deep breaths and I'll come in. Well, fuck, he pulled on that thing and it was not going back in.
Oh,
So
no.
to the rescue, Tim Lipsett was riding there.
Oh,
And
really?
Tim's had a whole bunch of big shoulder injuries, so it worked out perfect. He said, yeah, whatever. I can't really remember. I was at this point borderline passing out. I couldn't even breathe, and I just laid kind of fetal position, and he fucking pulled on it, and then it sucked back into its socket. So Tim was actually the one that got my shoulder back in.
No way. Were you, so you,
Yeah.
did he just like put his boot on your chest and just like yank on it and finally freaking
Yeah, I
slid
think I
around
was
the right way?
I had my feet pushed on his legs or something, and I
Oh,
was just
gosh.
laying down kind of, and it'd come in. But this other one that always pops out, it would never hang up. It only ever hung up maybe once or twice. The one time actually it hung up, I was at mom and dad's. I was just over there, just walking around bullshitting them, like nothing
Yeah.
was hurting, nothing extreme. I was in their house. I was standing by the couch just in their living room, and all of a sudden it just muscle spasmed and it freaked out and it come out, and I could not, like, I got it in, but I was bent over with my shoulder facing the ground and my other shoulder facing the roof, and I was trying to I could feel where it was caught, and it wouldn't,
Get by
it gets caught on like it feels like it's caught on a bone spur or something, and it won't go back in. So I messed with it, and I just kept turning my thumb, and dad's just standing there like, what the fuck's going on?
Holy
And then
shit.
it come in. That was pretty close to after when I called out. Then we decided I had to do something with it.
Oh, man.
But,
It makes me feel
yeah, it's good.
sick hearing about these again. Because I remember one of the first times it happened, it happened in Killam. And I thought I broke my arm off because it was just numb. Like it just blew apart.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what in the fuck happened? And I had to go to Brazil in like 10 days. So I was like, oh shit, well that wrecks the trip. I was so pumped to go on this trip. But like, yeah, just like was so numb. And then finally, like a few hours later, get to the hospital and like, I don't know where the fuck it was, like maybe Camrose or something. But they like laid me down and like had different straps and like put the morphine in me and finally like went back in. And it just was such a relief for the thing to go back in. Like,
Yeah, when it
oh,
comes back in, that there's no better feeling.
yeah.
When it comes out, like it pinches that nerve off, and you actually can't feel anything. You just can't do
Really?
anything. Well, actually, you do feel something. It fucking hurts.
It hurts
But
like a son of a bitch, yeah.
you can't feel your arm, like, to move it. Like
Yeah.
you can't just do whatever with it.
Oh,
But this
man.
other one that I still have to get fixed, it's a little different. Like it doesn't just pop out and hang out. Like
Yeah.
it'll fall out, and then the muscles spasm, and then it slams it back in to the socket. The socket's just so loose. That's what's busting my labrum up so bad. Every time it pulls out, then it slams back in and smashes that labrum all to shit.
Yeah. Jeez, man, I feel for you.
But that's part of it.
So talk about work a little bit and where what you're working on that way and how it's going, because you've been spending more time on it this little bit lately. And I guess could you still work while you were after the surgery the last little bit, or were you kind of laid up for the last little while?
No. Yeah, I've been honestly, really, I haven't been doing anything for the last 3 months. So right before, when I knew I was getting surgery, I had kind of just went out, not on my own, went out on my own, I guess, with a project. Bought an old, because I work on a lot of highway trucks, like semi trucks and bigger equipment. Had this truck at the shop and Monitor where I contract to. It had been sitting there for a while, so I bought it and needed a whole bunch of work. So I fixed it all up, put an engine in it and whatnot. Flipped it, kind of like how people flip houses, just flipping Peterbilts. So that I've kind of been leaning more towards that. I'll still go back to the shop where I contract for this guy. So he just has a little one bay shop, and I'm really the only other mechanic other than him that works there. I just got an old diesel truck with a service body on it that I drive around and do service calls. But I've kind of just fly under the radar a bit. I'm serious about my business, but I'm not fully invested in it, just because when I'm rodeoing, I don't want to be having to answer my phone and turn down customers that need work. So I don't advertise or anything. So I always have a bunch of work lined up at the shop and whatnot. If I'm not bull riding, I'll jump in my service truck and head to work for 4 or 5 days at a time, whatever it is. So I'll definitely be focusing more of my time on that now, maybe try and build my business a little bit. I'm getting older as is, so you always got to look, I don't care how much money you win bull riding unless maybe Stetson Wright's different or Sage Kimsey, but if you can manage to win a few million, I guess you don't got to work as hard, but usually I feel it's good to have a plan. I went to college for it and got my trade. So yeah, that's where I'll invest a lot of my time this summer, is just kind of building my business and doing that. I stayed pretty busy in the summer doing that, and with the wedding and stuff, I shouldn't have much time for anything else. So
you went to school. I want to say you went to school in Red Deer or Olds? Forget now.
I did my first year mechanics in Vermilion.
Oh, okay.
That was also probably one of the funnest times of my life. And then I went and did my second year in Red Deer. And then actually my third year. So it's kind of a 4-year program, but it's also kind of not 4-year program. You can get 1 year or year 1 and year 2 and year 4 combined to be a on-road, like a semi-technician, they call it basically. And year 3 is off-road. That's your dozers and Chacos, your off-road equipment, we call it. So year 3 was going to be my second year in Red Deer. I did year 1 in Vermilion, year 2 in Red Deer, and year 3 rolled around. I just started school. It was the start of January. And I got sick. You can only miss there. I don't know why they're so sticky on this trade stuff, because it's trades. Like, it's not like you're going to be a doctor, right?
It's not brain surgery.
But they only
it's machine surgery.
You're only allowed to miss like a week or something. And I was sick with the freaking flu for the first 2 days. So I missed the first 2 days class. Meanwhile, the year before in Red Deer, I did really good in school. I was actually on the Dean's Honor Roll. Had super high marks. So year 3 rolls around. I'm sick for 2 days. And then that's when Posy committed suicide.
Oh, fuck.
So just got back to school. Remember, I was sitting in the library or something with one of my buddies from school. Looked at my phone, got the news, and then that week obviously was hell. So missed basically that whole week. And then whatever day I went back, because I didn't know, we had to do the funeral and all that stuff. The next day I went back to school. The president or dean or whatever they call that dumbass called me into his office and told me, he said, you've missed too many days of school. It is what it is. And basically kicked me out of school. So that was that. So I just fucking skipped my third year.
Oh, really?
Kicked me out of school. I packed my shit. I was staying with Skylar, actually, Billy's wife, Skylar and Ash at the time. We were renting a house together in Red Deer, and I just packed my shit. I entered San Antonio, and me and Jordy and Jared went south.
Oh, really?
So it worked out.
Huh.
Yeah.
So did you ever do that
I never
third
ever
year?
did get my.
Oh, you never did?
Never did. I went back during COVID and challenged my last year, so I didn't even have to go to school. Just
really?
I challenged the test and passed it.
Oh.
So I ended up getting my journeyman ticket that way.
Wow.
But
take that,
yeah, never
Dean,
did that.
jerk.
Yeah. Fucking Dean, asshole.
Ah, jeez. Huh. So
yeah, that's kind of that's where
path.
I mean, and I've been mechanicking on and off through even a lot of my busiest years bull riding. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy to do. It's not an easy job, and it's also very tough when your shoulders aren't very good, but I like it. And yeah, that's where I'll be focusing my time now for the next little bit anyways.
When can you get back to work officially? Is it now
Well, I kind of got cleared. Yeah, I'm going to just ease into it. I'll do 2-3 days next week. Probably won't be doing any service calls anytime soon. Just kind of ease into it and see where I'm at. I got another truck that I'm trying to flip. So hopefully my shoulder, in 3 weeks, if I can stay on my rehab pretty strong and get my shoulder built up a bit, then kind of get more into the heavy duty stuff, but just gotta take it slow.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Jordan a little bit? Like getting married this year? Do you want to mention that a
Yeah,
little bit? Like,
that'll also fill the summer quite a bit.
yeah.
We've got, well, not we, she's planned most of the stuff, but even leading up to the wedding week and stuff, we'll be pretty busy. Well, or even the month, I guess. Like we're still trying to figure out the invitations and just planning the whole event. Like it's a lot. I honestly underestimated how much a wedding, like even, we're not doing anything extravagant, but it's like you got to have your shit in order, right?
Yeah,
So a big part of the
it's a Thursday.
summer will be, yeah.
Rodeo Cowboys
riding.
can't have a wedding on a Saturday.
So when we picked the date, because we knew we wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know how we decided on August, but because now looking at it, we're kind of like, oh, it's going to be hotter than hell. Might not be so enjoyable, but that was kind of the only thing that worked out. Like Prescott took really the only other week that I could see, so he's the Wednesday after us.
The 23rd.
Yeah, and we were originally thinking that week was, but so they're getting married that week, so we're the week before. And the old schedule that I looked at, if they keep it the same, was always Coronation Bull Riding is that Wednesday.
16th.
So I thought, well, that will work. Yeah, I don't know if it's still. I haven't
should be
looked at a schedule or nothing, but
they're usually a little later, but still should be the 16th.
Yeah, that's what I was banking on. So everyone could go. They could still go to Coronation Bull Riding Wednesday. I'm 45 minutes from Coronation, so
yeah.
Worst case, Ontario, the wedding party will be late for the rehearsal dinner or whatever they call it.
Yeah, so what? Yeah. Or they can do it and then go to the bull riding. Have a rehearsal lunch instead, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think it's like Pincher Creek.
Cranbrook.
I think it's just, like it's not a very busy weekend. So it's ideal for, like picking a wedding week, right?
Yeah. And I guess Glen Keely on the weekend, on the 19th probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in Nanton.
And I at the time when we picked the date, I didn't know I wasn't going to be riding, so I thought, well, maybe I might be going to Coronation too.
Plan your schedule, yeah.
But no, this way we'll have lots of time for honeymoon now. We'll probably, I don't know, we haven't really even decided what we're going to do. We're thinking, like, Jordan hasn't really been to BC.
Yeah.
And out there, so we might just do something. A hot vacation would be nice, but it's kind of not the ideal time to go to,
Yeah, you don't need to go to Mexico.
And
in August.
I'm also not a huge, I don't know. I've been to Mexico before and it was fun, but I'm not like, that's what we need to do.
Not a huge fan.
So we haven't decided yet what we're doing with that.
Oh, you got lots of time. Lots of time.
But BC is always fun. Every time I go to BC, it's always a good time.
To rodeo,
so.
Yeah.
That's what I'll miss the most is stuff like Armstrong.
Yeah.
And all those rodeos. I'm really going to miss it.
Well, it's only 1 year. It's only 1 year, man.
Yeah.
Maybe a year and a half still, but anyways.
Yeah.
So was that hard not to get ride in Ponoka? Was that like kind of the career defining one so far, or was it getting to go ride at the PBR World Finals or some of these other events on the PBR side of things, winning the Cup Series, or what else?
I don't know. It's hard to separate them. Every win is always so different. There's not one time I could say when I won something I was like, oh, that was just like the last time. They all have their special little bit to them. They're all different. They're all great in one way, and so to isolate it, I don't know. As I grow older, I always like just the path we kind of took, me and Brock. We, when we were first going, when we cracked out, we were going to PBRs and we had a lot of decent success in the PBRs. So at the time it was like, that's all I want to do. I want to go to the World Finals, and I still, I still strive for that stuff. But as I've gotten older, I've shifted more, just different atmosphere. I want to try stuff that I haven't done before, right? So my goals are kind of shifted a bit. Like I still like all the PBR events. Obviously I'd like to get that national championship. I'd like to go back to the World Finals and redeem. You know, that was for the only time to ride there. That was not a good way to end. So I'd like to do all that, but I would say my main goals are probably the NFR is my main one. Get to the NFR, you know, put a good, honest effort in to try and make it. I fully believe I can. It's just a matter of, you know, everything lining up, staying healthy. It's a huge marathon to get there. If there's one thing that's held me back, I would say it probably is injuries. You know, I've always tried to go as much as I can, but just hasn't worked out. So number one and number two, I'd say I'd like to get a national championship in both PBR and CPRA. I think that for guys in Canada, I mean, there's so many great rodeos in Canada and so many great cowboys come out of Canada. I'd like to have my name beside them. Yeah, guys, you know, all the greats in every event, Cody Snyder and, you know, bronc riders like Rod Hay and just there's so many of them, right, that have paved the way for us. So I'd really like to have my name up there, but it'll just have to put it on hold for a little bit, I guess.
That's fair enough. I understand. It's one of the toughest things to do right now, but it'll probably pay off in the long run.
Well, I think too, also, like, there's so much talent up here. If you want to beat them guys like, you know, Nick Tetz and Jordan Hansen and Jared Parsonage and Brock Radford, Coy Robbins, like, when them guys are strapping them and winning everything, they're healthy. So, you know, you can try, like, it's cool and it's great to make the CFR. Everyone wants to do it, but you got to strive for more than that. And I think if you want to get that, I think if you want to seal that championship up, you're going to have to be healthy. So at this point, I think it's a no-brainer. You know, if you want to be at the highest level, and even the PBR, you know, look at the guys that are winning, the guys that aren't winning. There's not too many times that them guys win a championship and they're hurt or you know. So yeah, that's what I gotta push for. Yep.
I'm looking back at a few stats here and wanted to ask you about a couple big wins over the years. So August 2018, you're in Whitecourt on, I think, Friday night. Then you get down to Tulsa, and then you're in Coronation. And in these three events, you're third, fourth, and third. But fourth place in Tulsa pays $10,000, probably 10,000 US, I'd imagine at the time. So I'm looking at that win, that being a huge one for you. That gets you all the way to the World Finals in the fall as an alternate. Unfortunately, not seeded, but still, it's a World Finals qualification. But you go there, win in Moncton on the Canadian tour the year before. But this one really stood out that I kind of forgot about. A $25,000 night in Edmonton at the Global Cup qualifier in 2000, and I thought it was 2017. Yeah, it was 2017. Yeah, $24,000 Thursday night. That was a hell of a night too.
Yeah, that was. I remember. I mean, that was a huge month. So I think that year, Winnipeg. I think there was
Newtown.
Winnipeg Cup, and Newtown. So
Abbotsford
I can't remember how it worked. So went to Winnipeg. I think I won second to Dakota Lewis in Winnipeg. And we went to Abbotsford, and I won that one.
The next week,
I think that was my first cup, so won pretty decent money there. And then the qualifier, which was huge. So then that was the only year I missed. I was crying whole in the CFR. Went to the Global Cup and won 30. I can't remember what it was. I think I won 32,000 that week with the team stuff.
Oh wow.
That was big for me, money wise and just career wise. Like, that was kind of when I was like, holy shit, we're riding with the top guys, you know, like in the bounty round there. When I had that red bandana, I didn't ride them, but that was a big moment in my career. It was like, this is where it's at. And it was the top PBR hands, and we were doing pretty good and so that was huge for me. So after that week, that's kind of when I decided, I was like, okay, we need to make a push for the PBR. Like that's when I thought I fully believed in myself. I had what it takes. It's just a matter of applying it. So the week after that, I entered Newtown. We weren't even entered actually, because it was right after.
Yeah.
So
Literally
Jackson Scott,
7 days.
Thank God Jackson Scott was on the ball, because he just, can't remember how it worked out, but he ended up calling in, and there was two or three spots available. So me and him, and I think Logan Beaver, all just entered it out of just shit ass luck that we got in, because the entries were been long over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Got in, rode first night, won the round. I was 87.5. And it was all Chad Burger Bulls. And, we were going, I remember it was like, at the time it was Derek Kobaba and JW Harris, like Stetson Lawrence, all them guys were there. And I was pretty fresh to that scene. So it was like, holy shit, we're really doing her. Next night I was 85. And then I rode that crazy horse that I'd seen Taiki ride at the World Finals for like 89 the year before. And it was Pick Your Poison. Tanner Byrne was there. He was the one who said, because I didn't know any of them bulls, and Tanner Byrne had been on that scene for a while, and he was whooping them on that level. So I asked him, and he said I'd pick that crazy horse. He'll be either way. And shit, he was. And that, to this day, that was probably one of the best bull rides I ever made. I think.
Really?
I was 88.5, I think. But yeah, he was all there. He blew up around to the right, away from my hand, right off the start, and then blew up kind of cool facing the chutes and went back left. And yeah, I was 88.5. I ended up winning that event. So between Winnipeg, like from that month alone, that 4 weeks or whatever, I won. I remember talking to you, actually. We did an interview.
Oh, really?
Because you called me the Monday after. I was looking through this not too long ago, actually. It's funny.
Oh, really?
And an old news article popped up, and you called me that Monday, and I was at work, so we timed it. And I was on my lunch break when we were talking.
You win 40,000 and you go back to work.
Yeah, went back mechanic, and
yeah. Why not though?
So that after that, that's kind of like where my storyline, that's kind of when I shifted to the PBR.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing really. I mean, we've won here and there and a fair bit, but I never really accomplished anything that I really wanted to accomplish. Yeah. I never won the PBR World Finals and never sealed any Canadian championships. I was kind of dipping into both. And looking back, it's, don't regret anything. That is what it is. And this game is, it's a learning curve, and it's about staying healthy and picking the right, making the right choices and going when you can. And, if all the stars align, you might win one. But that's kind of who I am, and that's built me to where I'm at now. And that's something I'm still chasing, is those Canadian championships. So I'd really like to seal those. And like I said, go to the NFR, maybe win that son of a bitch.
Why not? Nothing holding you back, Lonnie. I wish you the best out there and getting those goals and continuing to be successful and but most of all being healthy. You gotta be healthy, because there's a lot of time after this.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have a decent body afterwards. So
Lonnie,
I
appreciate that one.
The last thing I got is what your definition of cowboy shit is.
Cowboy shit to me is, that's kind of how I feel we've been raised. It's being tough, being strong, no matter what the situation, and just digging down deep and being gritty. When I think of cowboy shit, I think of, that just dirty, rotten, you got that grit in you that it's just ride or die. It's, everything you got.
That makes me think of I have a feeling that you and Brock might have had a pretty good ditch fighting career. What's your best ditch fight against Brock on the road out there? Do you guys got any big dust ups, or what's the deal?
Me and him never got into dust up, but so that
brothers,
week
though,
that you were looking at Tulsa. So when we went from White Court to Tulsa,
Yeah.
So Brock blew his knee out at Whitecourt
Shit.
that night. So he was taking me to the airport because I had to ride to Tulsa the next day. Well, we're leaving Whitecourt, and there's a girl crossing the street, and we're sitting at the front of the red light. Lachlan Richardson is behind us in a car with Lachlan Slade, if you remember him.
Yeah.
And so this guy runs across the street in front of the truck first, and then his girlfriend comes walking back, like, I don't know, 10 seconds later. Like, he kind of just ran across the street and left her.
Yeah.
And it's 4-lane there it's right at the McDonald's main drag in Whitecourt. So Brock yells out the window something about a pretty girl like you ought to be walked across the street. Well, this guy heard it, and he turns around, and it happened quick. He wasn't across the street yet, so he ran across, and he's coming. Me and Brock are kind of just like, is this guy really gonna fight us right now? We're kind of watching him walk over to the truck, and the light is still red. We're kind of waiting
you're in
for
the
light
truck.
to turn green.
You're in the truck.
Yeah, so we're kind of waiting to mash the gas so we can just drive away. Well, he gets to the window, and the light is still red. And so at this point, and Brock's knee is wrecked, so he can't get out. So he's mashing. He tried to get the window rolled up, and this guy's already throwing bombs through the window, hitting Brock in the head.
Oh, no.
So I bailed out. Ran around the front, and he was.
And you're in the driver's seat.
I'm not very big. No, Brock was driving.
Oh, okay.
So I was in the passenger seat, so I jumped out, and this guy's kind of standing on the meridian, that curb thing, and I'm looking up at him already. He's a pretty big guy, and he lets go of Brock and grabs me and just starts rifling at me. So I'm kind of getting him ducked, and it was kind of blurry. So we have a few, it happened pretty quick, but then we throw a couple punches back and forth, and he actually landed some pretty good ones on my ear.
No way.
Swelled my ear up. And my shirt was ripped off. And Lachlan Richardson, guys, they come around the front. The whole time this light was still red. I don't know how it was still
Thanks
red.
a lot, light.
People were
honking, you really
and yelling
fucked me on that one.
Cheering. Yeah. So I went to Tulsa the next day. Had a great weekend. It was awesome.
Oh man. And then you come right back and make some money in Coronation the next week.
Yeah, so that was cowboy shit stuff right there.
That is some cowboy shit. Getting a fight at a traffic light and then go and win $10,000 in the weekend. Jeez.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks, Lonnie. That's I'm sure there's lots more we could get into here, but I always feel like I leave some stuff on the table on these. There's like so many ways a guy could go, but that was a lot of fun.
No, that's all right. That's what the bullshits are for at the bull ridings.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks, Lonnie.
Yeah,
again,
thanks for having me on.
Best of luck with the wedding later in the year, August 17th, and heal up, man. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. But hope everything's going good, and wish you the best.
All right, thanks, Teddy. I'm sure we'll see you down the road.
Yeah, you betcha. Once again, thanks to Lonnie West. We talked to Lonnie quite a few times about doing the show with us, so I'm glad he and I got hooked up and got this bit on the record and had a few chats. And his dad Kevin, I think, was maybe not one of the first, but he won the 50,000 back in '89. So kind of crazy. Like, I know we've talked about this lots now, but yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's 32 years later and the the money's still the same to win the damn thing. I know the day money's different, but there's more for second and third and whatnot, but like, yeah, they got to get this 100,000 back, especially when they're breaking attendance records. The problem though too is that there is the Stampede has to like empty the bank accounts every year, don't they, as a nonprofit, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, you can't turn a profit, so I think you gotta make sure the book stays zero at the end of the year, whatever you need to operate for the next year thing. But
and I guess they got to pay off their debts from previous years, but like, you'd think that you'd make the budget and make it back to what it should be. But I mean, I don't know, maybe they kind of were trying to figure this out after the fact, but anyways,
This
like
is the
they got to get
third
back
year
at
at 50, right?
it. Yeah, I was 21, 22, and now 23. So yeah.
But I remember even last year in 22, they didn't even announce that it was going to be 50 till like right before the rodeo. There was still speculation they were going to raise it back to 100 last year. Remember?
Well,
And it was
I
like,
thought the first year they were going like in 21 they were going to make it 100 if the attendance was proper. So
yeah,
I just don't know. I guess there's too many rumors and I don't know what the deal is, but I really hope that they get it back up. Like I know it's a $300,000 hit, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what it's going to take to. It's something that we all kind of argue about all the time, but who's actually making the decisions? I don't actually know sometimes. So, but one thing I do got to say is that I've helped with the Pioneers of Rodeo for a while here, the last couple of years now. It's kind of a offshoot of the rodeo committee in some capacities, rodeo and chuckwagon committee. So I help with the selection of who we're putting in, and who's going to go in future years, and help on the event production a little bit as well. So Dave Polson was let go from the rodeo side of things in the last I guess just this spring. Essentially he was let go, no longer working the Stampede, didn't get to say goodbye. They tell him in the spring, so he can't even book another date to work another rodeo. Put his heart and soul into this thing for the last 40 years, and they let him go like that. So I said, hey, working with Brian Hansen and a few of the other crew, Tal Hogben, some of the crew like that on this event. And I said, you know what, I think it'd be a really classy move on our behalf. I don't know who was in charge of, letting Dave go on the rodeo side of things, but I think, from what we can control, I think it'd be a classy move for us to invite Dave to host this, because a good friend of his, Jack McDonald, like Jack Mack as he's known, he was inducted into the Pioneers Rodeo this year. So along with Kelly Sutherland, and then Steve Dunham and Robin Burwash. So those are the 4 inductees. Kelly Sutherland doesn't even show up. He's mad at Calgary. He doesn't agree with going to 3 wagons, which I agree. The 3 wagons is bullshit. It's dumb. They're not saving anything by doing 3 wagons. But Kelly doesn't even show up to accept his Hall of Fame Pioneers of Rodeo award at the Calgary Stampede. How messed up is that one of your inductees doesn't even show up because he's so sick of what you guys are up to?
yeah, that's tough. But you get some of those guys, and they're, I guess they're a lot more stubborn than us, and not in a bad way. I don't mean that without any ill due respect to Kelly Sutherland. The guy's an absolute legend, and
Absolutely,
and a Calgary Stampede legend. But yeah, that's guys standing their ground, and they believe in what they believe, and yeah, I'm not surprised that someone like that doesn't show up.
Yeah. So his grandson Dayton Sutherland, and I asked Dayton, I was like, hey, why isn't Kelly here? He's like, oh, there's a few things he doesn't agree with. So I was like, okay, well, that good that he's passionate, and but I mean, yeah, like who's gonna, like, are people gonna listen? Do enough people even know that he's not there? Why? So but anyways, in our control, Brian, I said, hey, like, why don't we try Dave? Like, let's offer it to him. Dave and Jack go back 45, 50 years. Like, they've been doing this forever together. So why don't we offer it to Dave? Like, I think it's a classy move on like what we can do, and we can say, hey, Dave, like, we'd be glad to, have you host this. So Dave was there and told a good joke to kick off the day. But yeah, really, I thought it was really cool to have Dave be part of that, and yeah, just kind of try and be classy and just invite the guy to be part of this thing after getting, let go for who the fuck knows why. So, well,
Dave, me and Dave are super close, and
yeah,
I mean, he's one of my idols and probably one of my best friends. We're super close, and I just think that it's a really disappointing way to end a tenure that, when I started telling people I was working with Dave as much as I was, like, the first thing they always said was like, he's the voice of the Stampede. He's the
on all the videos, like everywhere.
Oh, I mean, I grew up watching, we had Channel 5 on our rabbit ears in the house, which was CFCN, and it was Dave every night. And I think Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
Bringing us the rodeo highlights every night. That's how I got to learn about Dave Paulson. So just really disappointing that there wasn't, that's the way it has to end. And I mean, unfortunately, we're in a business, and in every capacity where there's always someone else that can replace you, and it's just too bad that it's very unceremonious for Dave for everything he did. Like, I mean, he even worked for the Stampede for a number of years in like a communications role or public relations role.
Yeah, he did.
So
and then I was watching the broadcast last night, and there was a big piece about how Joe Carberry got on the stage and he got to say farewell and bye and thank you and everything. And I put a tweet out there. I was like, "Where is Dave Paulson's hero's farewell after giving, every July of his, the first 2 weeks of every July of his life to this organization?" And they just call him and say, "Hey, sorry, we don't need you. Bye."
Yeah.
Nice knowing you.
That's too bad. And I mean, those kind of stories have seemed to be a little more popular this year with, especially in our circle, with a lot of people we know. I won't dive into it too much, but that's what happens when big organizations get bigger and think bigger, and you lose that kind of, I don't know if it's small town mentality, but just that kind of humble and closeness. You just don't feel that anymore. And I said this to Keenan Vine today. I said, I grew up loving the Stampede. I remember the first time I worked there, I was so excited to get my pass. And I said, it's almost like having a hero, like maybe you're a huge Bobby Orr fan, then you spend a week with him and he's a total dick. And like, he's not my hero anymore. And that's how it's kind of with Calgary. Maybe we're all just bitter because we're not there, but it's just little things like that, especially with Dave, who he should have got a proper send off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So I hope that they make that right someday, somehow. I don't know if they can or will, but I think it's due. And I made that known to some people that I saw the last few days. So yeah, anyways, I'm looking forward to going to Teepee Creek, the Teepee Creek Stampede, 4 days in the wild, heading up there. We'll be on the road as this show gets published. So heading up north to Teepee. And then before the next show, we will be to and from Cheyenne for the Frontier Days. Looking forward to that trip. We got a couple weekends of chuck wagons in High River. We got some stuff going to Foremost. And then Kelowna, actually, before we go to Cheyenne. And then, then back after that one's Strathmore. So, and Pollockville. So that's kind of the next few weeks. What do you'll be in Medicine Hat with Dave? Is that one of your next stops? You got something next weekend too, probably, right?
Well, doing the chuck wagons for Calgary.
That's right.
For Real Country 910 has the broadcast of the chuck wagons this year. So I'm jumping in for the final weekend to host the show. So we'll do that. And then me and Dave actually head out to Morris for the tour rodeo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then we go down to Medicine Hat and then off to Bruce. So to end my July. So it'll be a really busy couple weeks here between the new job and a couple of fun rodeos with Dave, which I'm super excited for.
Right on. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for doing the show with me this week. Have fun out there, Dustin. We'll see you on the 17th when we get back from TP. Looking forward to the visit though.
Yeah, I like 4 pillows on the bed and a mint and turn down service every night at 9. So just have it ready for me, Teddy.
What temperature do you prefer the room to be at?
I like it about 17 or 18. So
okay, well, you have to open the window and maybe bring a fan. There's no AC here, so.
Is that the window I crawled in one night?
Yeah, that's definitely the same one. Yeah.
I'll feel right at home.
You can still see the marks from the spatula, whatever the hell you had to bust in there.
Paint can opener or something, isn't it?
Jeez. All right. Okay, man. Well, thanks for this. We'll see you again soon. Thanks everybody for listening. Once again, this is Cowboy Shit. My name's Ted Stovin. He is Dustin Edwards, and thanks for joining us. Be back again to talk with you in a couple of weeks. Make sure to check out CowboyShit.ca. Get your Cowboy Shit merchandise. If you're in Cheyenne, we got a bunch of stuff down that way at the Frontier Days. Send me a note if you're going to be around, and we'll look forward to seeing you. So everybody stay well out there. Drive safe. Travel safe.
Trinity River, such a dirty little river. That don't bother me. Dirty little river sort of give me clean. Trinity River, and it flow because I cry. So to keep me honest, with everybody telling lies. That scent of evening hung everywhere. Gamblers turn their cards, thinking on that whiskey hard. evening flows all through my head. I had the sweetest dream. I was floating in the river